on the record button and we'll get started then.
Alrighty, it's on.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, let's introduce ourselves. If you wouldn't mind, I'd like to know who I'm talking to. So if you could share what's your name and where are you from and what do you do outside of Isagenix? Where are you in your Isagenix business today? And then finally, one secret about yourself. Who wants to go first?
Okay, I'll go. My name is Tessa. I live in Ohio, Northeast Ohio, but I'm originally from Cincinnati. And I'm a home health nurse. So I go and see a lot of crazy people pretty much every day I work and give them their meds so that they don't, get any crazier than they already are. What else did you say?
Wow,
Oh, okay.
That's a stressful job.
Yeah, it can be. And then
wow.
I'm a crystal manager and trying to get to executive, hopefully by the end of the 5 weeks, because you're going to help me do that. And
absolutely.
And one secret about myself, huh?
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one because I am a pretty open person.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be a Harlequin romance secret. It can just be what color your toenails today.
Oh, I don't have my toenails painted. Oh, okay, here's one. But I kind of just shared it with the girls. I don't like to brush my hair.
I don't either.
You don't have any hair.
Well, I still don't like to brush it. Wow, I was trying to make a connection there. You just threw me under the bus and said, hey, bald guy, stop making comments. Well, welcome to the call, Tessa. I actually dated a girl when I was like 14. Her name was Tessa, but she was from Nova Scotia and it wasn't you.
Yeah, definitely not me.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the call.
Thank you.
All right, I'll go ahead. I'll go next.
Okay.
My name is Jackie, and outside of Isagenix, I was an educator. I taught 5th grade last year, and I have 11 years in the system, but I resigned to stay at home. I have 3 kids. My youngest is 2, so I see a crazy person every day too, Tessa. I am a crystal director, and I will get crystal executive by the end of this, so we're all going to get our money back, right? And one secret about myself. Oh, this is funny. So I also work in a chiropractor's office, and we do Isagenix together. I'm his health and wellness consultant there. And yesterday, my very first boyfriend that I ever had came into the office. So it was kind of awkward bringing him back to the room and asking him questions. And so it was just kind of funny.
Now, when you say your very first boyfriend, like how old were you when you were boyfriend and girlfriend?
7th grade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, first boy I really liked, so it was funny.
Oh, but by the way, where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Ohio. I'm from New Philly, Ohio. So just a little
south. Very far away.
What's that?
You're not far from me. I normally live about 6 hours from there.
Oh, really? Where's your normal?
I'm just north of Watertown, New York.
Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
I think you thought you
but that's only when it's
Philly.
That's only when it's warm. Oh, I'm sorry, what did you say?
New Philly, Ohio. Yeah, did you think I meant like Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
No. That part of Ohio is only that far from Watertown, New York.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah. You just drop down to Syracuse and cut across. You're there really quick.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I'm in Toledo in 6 hours.
I guess Ellicottville is only 3 from me. I live in Northeast Ohio, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it's not as far away as you think.
Yeah.
Well, welcome to the call, Jackie.
Thank you.
And this is Marla, last but not least. I live in Northeast Ohio. I live outside of Cleveland, which is in Willoughby, Lake County. And I originally grew up in the area where Cindy lives now and the other girls live, and went to Dover High. Outside the business, I work at our local Y, very part-time, as a child watch caregiver. When people come to the Y to work out, I watch their kids. That's how I get my baby fix. I'm not having any more babies. And my one secret, this is a tough one for me. I think the one thing that is a pretty good secret is, I don't really like mint. Everyone likes mint. I don't like mint. I don't like mint.
Mint?
I don't like chocolate mint. I don't like mint.
Wow. I've never had someone tell me they don't like mint.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You know, that makes you a little weird.
Well, you know what? I am a little weird. I am not normal. I'm the crazy person in the house. How about that?
Oh, so someone needs to come by your house with meds. Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
We got someone who does that. Don't worry about it.
Too bad we didn't live closer, Tessa.
I'm crazy too. So it sounds like we all fit in with each other here.
Well, my name is PK, and when it is cold in Canada, I am in El Paso, Texas, which I am right now. And that is because my brother-in-law, who's a major at Fort Bliss here in El Paso, Texas, was dumb enough to buy a 5-bedroom house and give me a key to it. So when it's cold in Canada, I come to El Paso, Texas, because it's not cold here. Well, it's cold here today because it's only going to be 69. But on the weekend, it's going to be 85, just as God ordained it. But normally we live in a little horse farm just north of Watertown, New York, in Mallorytown, Ontario, Canada, right on the St. Lawrence Seaway. And we have 6 horses and 6 donkeys and 4 dogs and 3 cats. So if you park in my driveway, I will charge you admission because I live at a zoo. Now, it's one of those stupid farms because we have 6 horses and 6 donkeys and 0 saddles. We don't even ride them. They're just big dogs that eat grass. I live there with my lovely wife, Sandy. She and I have been together for 33 years as of Monday. We started dating 33 years ago.
Wow.
Been married 30. And we live there with our adult son, Corbin, who actually owns this company. And he manages our farm. And our daughter, Caitlin, is a professional horse trainer. She breeds and trains gypsy vanners, which if you've never seen a gypsy vanner,
I'd love
imagine Fabio married a horse. Someone seen a gypsy vanner before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty, aren't they?
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, that's what she does all day, every day, and she's a happy girl because of it. We also have a mission in Africa called Impact Malawi that my wife and I started 10 years ago. And today we have 500 preschoolers at our 5 preschools. And they all got fed today because of Isogenics. A year ago, we were told that they were in the middle of a drought. And in their culture, in a drought, you don't feed the babies. You let anybody under 4 or 5 die. And you just have more babies after the drought. So all of our preschoolers were going to die. So we posted on Facebook that we wanted to raise enough money to feed all these kids. And sure enough, we raised all the money to feed them in 16 hours on Facebook. So they had something to eat today and are alive today because of Isogenics. It's really kind of cool.
That is very cool.
We also mentor about 30% of the Isogenics millionaires in the world and their teams. So if you go to a large event, inevitably, one of my mentees is training you. So you will hear what we teach you in other scenarios. They are not supposed to say, well, PK says, because that would be weird. Instead, they should just take whatever we give them if they like it, and it works, tuck it under their arm and run like you stole it, because I gave it to you. Don't worry about it. And over the next few weeks, we'll actually be talking about how we talk about our opportunity, how we talk about our products and ourselves in such a way we're going to change so that we have more lifetime consumers, we have more people getting their products for free, and the other way that we keep track, we're making more money. And that's always a good thing. So would that be good if we learned how to do all that?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning, and the beginning is very simple. Why are all of you ladies obviously in the Mensa Club? Now, the Mensa Club is for anyone who has over a 132 IQ. Now, my baby boy, Corbin, who's 27 years old and 6'4" and 300 pounds, he scored 135 when he was only 8 years old. He's a bit of a freak. And he would be in the Mensa Club if he ever bothered to apply for it, but he doesn't really care. But you guys are in the Mensa Club because you've chosen to partner with such an amazing company like Isagenix. What makes Isagenix so amazing that you guys are obviously geniuses for partnering with them?
I like it because it's for everybody. I can give it to my kids, I can take it, and I can share it with other people that, and know that I'm sharing something that's an extremely good product.
Absolutely. And it really does matter if our customers can be everybody. I'm always amazed if someone builds a product line that's only for women. And I go, okay, but that means you're only going to reach 1/4 of the population because the other are children and men. Our product's for everybody. Absolutely. Why else are you guys geniuses because you partner with Isagenix?
I would say because of the opportunity. And to tie in with what you and Tessa just said, it's for everyone. A lot of direct marketing opportunities are not for everyone. They target women only, or they target men only. This one is truly for everybody. I can talk to anyone about the opportunity, and it can be for them if they want it.
It really is an amazing compensation plan, isn't it?
It is. It really is.
What I find convenient about it is, unlike many compensation plans, they actually plan on compensating you, which I find is convenient.
That's nice.
Now, Isagenix makes a pretty crazy claim. They claim they're going to make more of something than any company in the industry. What do they claim they're going to make more of?
More six-figure earners.
Absolutely. More 6- and 7-figure income earners than any company in the world. Now, that's a pretty ballsy thing to say, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you're a baby company. Like, they've been saying that since day one. And, other companies in network marketing have been around for 70 years. And here this pimply-faced teenager says, yep, going to beat y'all. Kind of a crazy statement. And they've always said it. Like, they haven't made that up recently. They've said it from day one. Now, one of the reasons that's possible is what were Jim and Kathy doing before they started Isagenix?
They were
retired. They were with another company before, and then they were in retirement. Is that correct?
Yeah, they retired. They weren't doing anything. They were doing whatever they wanted to do. So if you're well off enough that you can retire comfortably at that age, if you're making up a company, you can kind of let it do whatever you want it to do, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I've got some numbers for you, and they're pretty astounding. I'd like you to write them down, and then I'll explain to you what the numbers stand for. But you'll see that Isagenix already has a plan that works. That means they really are going to make more 6- and 7-figure income earners than any company in history. So if you just got a pen and paper, jot these down for me, okay? There's 5 lines. The first line is 171, then an arrow to the right, and the number 500. 171, an arrow to the right, and the number 500. Now, below that is the number 725, then an arrow to the right, and the number 25. 725 and 25. Now below that is two percentages. First is 0.5%, then an arrow to the right, and 5%. 0.5, an arrow, and 5%. The fourth line is just a single number. There's no arrow. The number is 1120. 1120. One last line and the math class is over. And it's 358, 358, then an arrow to the right and the number 29. 358, an arrow, and 29. So let's go back up to the top and 171. 171 stands for, according to Eric Worre, the fact that in 2014, network marketing and direct sales did 171 billion worldwide. Now, is 171 billion a lot of money?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's actually so much money, none of us have a clue how much money it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those numbers like, oh yeah, that's nice, cool. Because it's too much money. So let's compare it to something we do know. If you were to take the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NBA, the movie industry, and the music industry, and put them together, that would be about 171 billion. That's how big network marketing and direct sales is. That's pretty big, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I want you to remember that number when Aunt Martha gives you the poopy face and says, oh, is this network marketing? Okay? Now let's remember, you don't really like Aunt Martha. I don't know why you're enrolling her. But Aunt Martha doesn't know that it's this big. She has no idea. Now, with that money, in the entire world, 500 people made at least $1 million a year in network marketing and direct sales. Now, is $1 million a year a lot of money?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah. It's roughly $20,000 a week every week. Now, the rumor has it that if you clip the coupons on Saturdays, you can actually live off that kind of cash. By the way, our top income earners as of New Year's kickoff were Herb and Patty Cepeda, and they averaged $55,000 a week last year.
Wow.
And did you see that they're no longer the top income earners? That changed in February. Did everybody see that?
I missed that.
Michael Klaus and Lynn Hagedorn are now the top income earners in the world.
Wow.
Wow.
They've only been in the company for 5 years, guys. Why does that matter? Why does it matter that it's not one of our grandfather families that are the top income earners?
Because anybody can do it.
And that means we're not a what?
We're not capped for anything.
That's right. And we're not a pyramid scheme, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Because in a pyramid scheme, you can't pass anyone who got there before you. In fact, at New Year's kickoff, it was the only time I'd ever seen it in Isogenics. Jimmy Smith was number 5. And the 4 people ahead of them were all newcomers. What's that mean for you?
We can go there too.
We can go there too. There's nothing about the system that says you can't earn as much or more than everyone who's earning right now. In fact, I have one mentee. He has a plan for a $10 million year.
Wow.
Because there is no cap on what you can make in Isogenics, so he decided to aim for $10 million. Why? Why not? There's no cap. Why not make $10 million a year? Now, below that, in just Isogenics that year, we only did $725 million. Yet, somehow, we made 25 seven-figure income earners in 2014. Now, if you're not good at math, that kind of goes over your head. But that's why the next line. Isagenix accounted for less than 1/2 of 1% of the revenue. Yet, they made 5% of the seven-figure income earners in the world that year. What does that mean Isagenix must be?
A pretty amazing company.
Really amazing and super efficient with their money, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I wonder how efficient. That's the fourth line. Isagenix is 1,120% more efficient at sharing their profits with their business partners than the rest of the industry is. Now, that number is too high, so we've got to put it into something that makes sense. So, does anybody know how many miles per gallon your car gets?
Yes.
What do you get?
28.
What do you drive that gets 28?
It's a Toyota Camry.
Nice. I had a Toyota Camry too. Now I drive an F1 pickup truck, so I get 12. What color is your Camry?
It's silver.
Silver. I had a forest green one. It was a great car. Now, imagine if I pulled up beside you in an identical silver Camry. And I hit my power window and I waved at you and you recognized me, so you waved back. And I said, by the way, I just wanted to let you know, on my last tank of gas, I got 308 miles per gallon. What would you want to know?
I'd want to know where you're getting your gas at.
Yeah. How did that happen? We have the same car. That's what it would mean to be 1,120% more efficient. Not 28 miles per gallon, 308 miles per gallon. And that's why we have people that join Isagenix just because of the math. They're in another company, but when they do the math, they can't get the results that they get in Isagenix because the math is against them. That's why if someone says, you know, hey, my company grosses more than Isagenix does, my answer is, I don't care because my last name's not Coover. My last name is Smith. So it doesn't matter what we gross. It matters what's the math for putting money in a Smith bank account.
Right.
And it just so happens that the math is better with Isagenix than it is with anybody else. Isn't that good news?
That's great news for us.
Wonderful. Yep.
Yes.
Doesn't it make you feel really smart because you're partnering with these people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Mensa status.
Yeah, Mensa Club, send me my card. Yeah. Now, the reason this is possible is something we rarely talk about in Isagenix, and we should. We just turned 14 this week. Now, 12 years ago, when we were only 2 years old, we only had 3 products. It's a very short catalog. We had Shakes, Ionics, and Cleanse. That was it. So could anyone hazard a guess as to what our top 3 selling products were that year?
The same.
Shakes, Ionics, and Cleanse.
Ooh, economics major. Way to go. Yeah. So we just turned 14. Anyone want to hazard a guess as to what our top 3 selling products were last year?
Shakes, Ionics, and Cleanse.
Cleanse.
More economic majors in course even. Look at you. Now, if you don't sell things, you go, neat little trivia, old man, who cares? But if you do sell things, you go, holy crap, are you kidding? No, we're not. And why? Because in the history of companies producing products, there have only been a handful of companies ever who have had the same top 3 selling products year 2, and year 14. And the reason is simple. If you're successful, your competitor is going to duplicate your formula, undercut your price, and steal your market share. So you've got to come up with new products to be your top sellers. But I just told you we didn't do that. Our top 3 have always been our top 3 for 12 years. What does that mean for our ability to make a greater profit if our top 3 stay our top 3? Wouldn't we make more money?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys are all too young to remember. Way back in the 70s, there was something called a pet rock.
I had one.
Does anyone remember the pet rock?
Yes, I had a.
Did you have a pet rock?
I had a rock garden as a child.
But it wasn't the pet rock you bought in the store.
No, my parents wouldn't let me buy a pet rock in the store. I had to make my own.
Yes. So there was a gentleman who made a lot of money off selling varnished rocks with eyes glued to them.
Yes.
Why? Because a lot of people smoked weed in the 70s, okay? It was a dumb idea, but he made a lot of money. We aren't selling pet rocks, are we?
No.
Mm-mm.
Now, one of my mentees, she went from 1-star to 5-star last year using the same principles I'm teaching you. But she used to make her own shakes. And she used to import her whey from New Zealand just like us. The only problem was the price. Ours cost $3 a shake. Would you hazard a guess as to what hers cost?
$10?
Yes, exactly. $10. Yeah. Her canisters were $150 a canister.
Wow.
And she still sold them. And then she found Isogenics. And she decided, I can't beat them, I'm joining them. And she went from 1-star to 5-star last year. In fact, she was one of the people listed as millionaire in action at New Year's kickoff. Because of what the Cougars were doing when they started the company, and because our products have such enormous legs that our top-selling products remain our top-selling products, because of those two things together, Isogenics is able to be that generous that they're 1,120% more efficient sharing their profits than the rest of the industry is. The bottom line of that list of numbers is a very important bottom line. It takes the rest of the industry $358 million in order to make one 7-figure income earner. And Isogenics pops out another 7-figure income earner for every $29 million it brings in.
Wow.
That's efficient, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Now, one of the reasons that's possible is most companies will never let you make $1 million. They won't. It's not in the plan. You can't do it. You can't get there from here. But Isogenics wants to. It wants to be known as the most efficient and generous company in history. And you geniuses, you are smart enough to partner with them. Doesn't that make you feel great about your decision?
Absolutely.
Very exciting.
Yeah. Now, what we want to learn to do is how do we have all this excitement without verbally vomiting on the person we're talking to? Now, let's be honest. Have any of you ever succumbed to the dreaded verbal vomit?
Oh, yes.
I'm sure we all have at least a time or two.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever caught yourself mid-vomit and you know you should stop talking? So you just say 5 more paragraphs.
Yeah.
Or even worse, you can tell you're scaring them. They have this little fearful tick in their eye, and you know what they're thinking. How do I get her to stop? All I asked was, how are you today? And suddenly, I'm hearing about how much energy she has on her second cleanse day. I don't even know what a cleanse day is. I don't want to know. Don't tell me. So we don't want a verbal vomit. We want to instead do something which I call fly fish. Now, fly fishing, in contrast to verbal vomiting, is where we put something small that is of interest to the little fishy-wishy, and it moves towards us instead of us chasing the little fishy-wishy and try to stab it with our rod and reel in the river. And we learn to do that by having interesting fly fishing conversations, not one-sided speech conversations. So we start off even with something as simple as, what is it you do? Now, I'd like you to learn to describe what you do as, well, what I'm really excited about is the family business I recently started. Now, why would I like you to describe Isagenix as a family business?
Because it is family.
It is family oriented, isn't it?
Very much.
And not
so.
just the product line. Why is the compensation plan family oriented?
Because it's one that you can pass down to your kids if something ever happens to you.
Exactly. And, eventually something is going to happen because we're going to go to heaven someday, right? So, that's going to happen. Well, I told you at the beginning of the call, my son at age 23 owns this company. And at 27, he's been the only president of the co-creation group ever. My name isn't on it anywhere. Why? Because I don't believe in death taxes. I'm going to pay enough taxes while I'm living. You're not going to tax me after I die. So when my wife and I pass away, everything that we own of value will already be owned by our children. That way, the government doesn't take half of it after we die. Why? Well, because Mama raised a fool, but it was my brother. Now, when you tell someone you're excited about your family business, if they're one of the 70% of Americans who dream of owning their own business, what's going to be the next question they ask you?
What kind of business?
What kind of business is it? Because you're excited about it, and it's family business, and I love my family. What kind of business is it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, 3 years ago, very deliberately, our family company created a business concept, and we even copyrighted the term, and we call it the evolved economy. The evolved economy. And over the last 3 years, we have deliberately created a very strong digital footprint for that term, so that if you Google it, and you Google evolved economy, no other businesses show up in the Google search other than Isagenix. It's only tied one business model to a single business, Isagenix. So that if someone says, what's an evolved economy, and they don't understand your answer, they can Google it, and it'll still come back to the fact that you're partnering with Isagenix. Whereas if you only say, well, I have a network marketing company, well, they can Google network marketing and get a whole bunch of answers back on the Google search, can't they?
Yes, they could.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you tell someone I have an evolved economy business, what will they have to ask you?
What is that?
What on earth are you talking about? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we do that on purpose. We want to create more curiosity. We want people to ask questions. That's our goal. And when they ask that question, we can begin to fly fish. Now, there are 3 principles to fly fishing. They're very simple. And once you hear them, you'll go, oh, well, that makes sense. I try to do that. But here they are as principles. Principle number 1, when we're fly fishing, when someone asks us a question, we don't give a speech. We get the person who asks the question to help answer the question. Get the person who asks the question to help answer their own question. Why? Because if they're a part of a conversation, they'll find the answer more interesting and remember it longer. Whereas speeches, within 30 seconds, they're already thinking on a subject that's more interesting to them. Principle number 2, when we're fly fishing, get the person to talk about themselves. What is everyone's favorite subject of conversation?
Themselves.
Themselves. So if they ask you a business question and your answer includes them getting to talk about them, woo, are they ever interested? And then finally, get them to chuckle, because laughter warms up the conversation and it creates a memory dart in their head. They'll remember the conversation even longer. So, to illustrate it, someone were to say, what on earth is an evolved economy business? We would say, you probably already know, you just aren't familiar with the term. Let me ask you a couple questions. Question number 1, have you ever ordered anything from Amazon? Have any of you folks ever ordered anything from Amazon before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Are any of you Prime members, and maybe we need to have an intervention afterwards?
I am.
I am.
Ah, yes, true confessions, yes. If you wouldn't mind, what's the last thing that you had delivered from Amazon that you could mention the next company? Remember, I'm a guy. You shouldn't say something.
I just had my keyboard for my iPad arrive, my Bluetooth keyboard. It just before this call.
Isn't it amazing how much cheaper you can get cases and keyboards online than you can at stores?
$20 less.
Yeah.
Amazing.
We were looking for cases for our iPads, and we went to Best Buy, and they wanted anywhere from $70 to $100 for what we're looking for. And we bought 2 of them for $40.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Now, have any of you ever downloaded any music from the internet and put it on your phone? Do any of you guys have any music on your phone?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're not still buying your CDs from Walmart? No?
No.
Now, I've got a quiz for you. I just saw an interview with Elton John. He was on the James Corden show doing that carpool karaoke with Elton John. And he asked him, so what kind of music do you have on your phone? What do you think Elton John told him? What kind of music does Elton John have on his phone?
Lady Gaga.
It was actually a trick question. Elton John doesn't have a phone.
Oh.
And James said, what do you mean you don't have a phone? How does someone call you? And he looks at him and says, no one calls me. I'm Elton John. But then, of course, the other question is, how do you make a call then? Well, I turn to one of my security detail and I borrow their phone. I pay for it anyway. Oh.
Like,
Yeah, most of us don't have bodyguards, do we? I never thought of Elton. Sorry. So Elton John doesn't have any music on his phone because he doesn't have a phone. You guys have phones. Does anybody have any embarrassing music on their phone? It's either too young or too old and it's still on your phone?
Like Justin Bieber?
Really?
It's just in my workout
You have
mix.
Justin Bieber on your phone?
It's in my workout mix.
Wow. You do know he's just barely not an embryo, right? Wow. That qualifies. You win.
For the sake of working out.
Oh, that's a good excuse. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, always blame exercise. That's very safe of you. Good job.
Right.
Yeah. I had one gal tell me, I don't have an embarrassing song, but I do have a dangerous song. I went, okay, I'll bite. What on earth is a dangerous song to have on your phone? Well, specifically a dangerous song to have on your phone when you're driving. So, okay, a dangerous song to have on your phone when you're driving. What is the dangerous song? She said, well, it's the hymn, How Great Thou Art. Okay, Patty Ann, I'll bite. Why is How Great Thou Art a dangerous song to have on your phone when you're driving? Well, because you close your eyes and sing along in the chorus. I said, you're right, Patty Ann, you should take that off your phone immediately. That's a dangerous song to have on your phone. Yeah. And as a former minister, I have to inform you that if that's how you die when you get to heaven, St. Peter might have a couple questions for you. So really, going around a curve with your hands in the air with your eyes closed, yeah, not a great idea, dear. Yeah. So if I told you, you know what the evolved economy is, and then I asked you a question about your Amazon ordering and phones that songs that you've downloaded off the internet for your phone, what would you now know my business model is based on?
Non-box retail.
Absolutely. I must have some kind of an online store, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I told you that by exclusively only talking about you. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
That's one of the keys to having an interesting conversation, is letting the other person be the interesting part of it. Because they pay more attention, they get way more out of it than if we just decide to download a lot of facts to them that they aren't necessarily interested in. Now, one of my mentees, her name is Mary, she went to dinner with complete strangers. And over the salad, the wife turns to Mary and says, so Mary, what is it you do? And Mary does exactly what we just did. Well, I don't actually do anything, but I'm really excited about my family-based business I recently started. Oh, really? What kind of business is it? Evolved Economy, Amazon, iTunes. Oh, you've got an internet store. Yes. Now the woman says, okay, I get the model. What's your product line? Now, I'd like you to adopt the idea that when we're just talking generically about our product line, that we don't say the name of the company, we stick to the subject. And the reason is we're trying to have a conversation about nutrition and food, and I don't know of any other word you could possibly use that sounds less like food than isogenics. Now, does anybody know why isogenics doesn't sound like food?
Because that was his kind of a epiphany that he had before he started the company. It was always in the back of his mind that he liked that name, but never knew like what he would use it for one day.
And when someone hears it, though, and they hear that you're eating something that ends in the letter X, what on earth other than Chex Mix and Trail Mix do we eat that ends in X? Nothing. And that's why if you say you eat isogenics and they don't know what it is, they kind of blink at you like, what? You eat what? Isogenics. Oh, okay. I know what that is. In fact, if you didn't know what isogenics was, I could walk up to you and say, so, are you having some malware on your computer? Download our isogenics program. It'll clean your computer up and it'll run faster too. And you go, what a neat name for a malware program, isogenics. But it sure doesn't sound like food, does it?
No.
No. So Mary uses the subject and she says, oh, I didn't mention, my apologies. Our product line is nutritional superfoods. Now, superfoods have become very popular in popular media right now. And so if you use the term, people think they pretty much know what you're talking about. You don't throw them the curve you think you're throwing them. And this woman had been reading about superfoods, and she got immediately geeked out, like really excited. I've been reading about these. What do yours do? Now, if there was ever a temptation for you to find somewhere in your rib cage the turbocharge button for your verbal vomit, it's when someone's dumb enough to ask you, what do your products do? Right? Like, we're willing to put on a pair of Depends and set up an IV because we're going to be talking for the next 3 days. Right? Oh, it does this, and it does this, and it does, and all of a sudden we turn into a Labrador Retriever. Do any of you have cats and dogs, or either?
Just a dog.
Dogs are great. They're happy when you come home, aren't they?
Yes, I'm here all the time, so.
But if you leave them for just a minute and come back, it's like you left them for days.
Yeah.
Right? We've been gone for 3 months, and when our dogs hear our voice over the iPad, you can hear the tick, tick, tick of them dancing. And then they will come and jump on top of my son's lap to look at the iPad. But somehow, magically, Kevin and Sandy are in that device talking to us. Now, we don't have little dogs. We have a 200-pound Italian Mastiff, and a 140-pound Italian Mastiff, and a 100-pound Boxer, and a little teeny-weeny Dachshund that I hate. But it's my wife's dog, so I can't kill him. He's an awful dog. Don't ever get that dog. Anyway, but they're super happy. But you know what? If we go outside and feed the horses and come back in, they dance around then too. Why? They're really happy to see us. I was just here. I know, but I'm a dog. We'd rather be like our cats. Have you ever had a cat run to the door to see you? No, because if they could grow opposable thumbs, they would kill us in our sleep. But we do want to be a little more cat-like. So when this woman says, Mary, I've read about these. What do yours do? Mary's response, because she's too cool for school, is, I don't know. What would you like them to do? Now, why is that the perfect answer?
Because it makes them want more.
Well, it also gives you a pinpoint of, do they want more sleep? Do they want to lose weight? You know, all those criteria.
And then what are you going to talk about when it comes to your product line?
Specifically what they mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Only what they mentioned, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the woman doesn't like the response. She gets a little miffed at Mary. She actually accuses her of not knowing what her product does. And Mary's response was very civil. She said, no, I know exactly what my product does. It's just I don't have a product. I've got 70 different products. And they address 30 different challenges that families face every day. I'm not going to list off 100 things before the entree comes. So you tell me your top 2, and I'll tell you if we're any good at it. Now, have you ever thought about the reality that we do have a product line that has 70 different products that really does address 30 different challenges that families face every day?
Never thought of it that way.
Mm-mm.
But if you kind of dissect all the side benefits of superfoods, like better sleep, or better mental focus, or lean muscle mass, right? There really are 30 different challenges that families face, and we've got solutions for them from our 70 products. Now, why isn't it an advantage to think that way versus only thinking about what the product did for you?
Because everybody's different. They're not you.
Everybody's different. That's right.
And you're turning the focus onto the person versus onto you.
Exactly. If you don't embrace the 70-30 rule, you're like a shoe salesman who's only willing to sell you their size of shoe. For instance, I wear a size 13. Is that going to help any of you?
Nope.
Not a bit. Well, it's no different when you're talking about what the product does for you. 70 different products that address 30 different challenges that families face every day. You don't know what to share until you get the answer to that question. That's why when people ask, well, when do I get to share my product testimonial? My answer is, hopefully never. Why? Well, I'd rather you just talked about them. Because, I mean, they like you and all, but they don't really care what happened to you. Unless it relates to what they wish could happen to them. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely.
So when Mary tells her, just pick two, and I'll tell you whether we're any good at it at all, the woman says, okay, I'd like to lose some weight, and I wish we had more energy at the end of the day. We're in our mid-50s, and we're really dragging. Mary's entire product description is this sentence. She doesn't say another word. She only says, congratulations, you picked our top two. And then she goes back to eating her salad as if they hadn't been having a conversation about products. And because she ignored her, the woman said, well, how do I get started? And so the woman bought 2 President's packs before the entree came. Why? Because she only stuck to what was of interest to the other person. And she limited her responses to what interested the other person. So at no time did she tell her about the, the third ice cube I like to put in my shake in the morning to make it extra crunchy, or the cinnamon I like to sprinkle on my vanilla shake to make it extra spicy, or how much energy I have on a second glass a day. Never happened. Never mentioned. Why? Because the woman didn't need to hear it. And what she learned to do is give fewer speeches, but communicate more effectively. Now, I did this to you at the beginning of the call. At the beginning of the call, I threw you a curveball when I asked you to introduce yourself. What was the curveball?
The secret.
What's the secret? Now, you guys handled it really well. Some calls, silence for a minute, and I don't bail them out. We just sit there in silence. Because they know their name, they know where they're from, they know what they do outside of Isogenics, they know where they are in Isogenics. A secret? What secret am I supposed to tell them? And they just stall. They're just, the whole call, all 5 people not saying a word. And I just sit there. Why? Because I asked them to give me something other than the speech they always give. Have a conversation that's related to the question I asked you, not just the speech that's in your head. And that's exactly what we're doing when we're having a fly fishing conversation. We're paying attention to what the person's saying and asking. We're not just vomiting a speech at them. Can you see how this is a shift?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've taken Mary's rather terse question and made it a little flowery one. And this is the question I'd like you to get to in your fly fishing conversations this week. And the question is this. Imagine nutrition could transform anything about your health. Imagine nutrition could transform anything about your health. What would you choose to transform first? What would you choose to transform first? And when someone gives you their priorities as far as a health transformation, now you know exactly where to focus your product description to them. And until you know the answer to that question, you have no idea where to focus your product description with them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
And what you'll find is, and this is a skill, you don't learn it overnight, but as you get better at this, you have shorter and more productive interactions that lead more efficiently to enrollments, because you don't distract the other person with any information that doesn't assist them making the decision to get started. You become efficient, just like Isagenix is. So that's our homework this week. Learn to fly fish. Get the asker to help answer their own question. Get them to talk about themselves. Get them to chuckle. Get to the question, imagine nutrition could transform anything about your health. What would you choose to transform first? Can we try that this week?
Sure.
Yes.
Next week, we're going to learn how to describe our product line also very efficiently so that our average enrollment is a President's Pack and up, not a 30-day
I love
or a
it.
Pacesetter Pack. By the way, last night, a brand new team said, PK, 3 President's Packs in 4 days.
Wow.
I said, how many President's Packs have you ever sold in your life? I just told you, 3 President's Packs in 4 days.
That's awesome.
It works, and it's simple again. Very simple, very concise, but very, very effective. Okay?
Sounds
Okay.
great.
But don't skip ahead. This week we're fly fishing, okay?
All right.
Okay.
Excellent. And I'll be cheering you on from the Desert Guys.
Have fun.
Have a great week.
Thank you.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, girlies.
He's got a sense of humor.
What did you say?
I said he's got a sense of humor.
I'm going to
Yeah.
definitely have to be listening to that, because between the fact that it tried to cancel us like 20 minutes ago and my kids coming in screaming about playing Star Wars on video games.
Oh. Yeah, well, it's good it's recorded, because then the other two won't miss out either.
Oh, I should probably stop the recording.